A lot of people insist that, you kind of just imagining things. They aren't trying to push any sort of agenda. And, remember back in the Gap, it was slippery slope. That was a fallacy. That wasn't anything that was actually going to happen. It was just a fallacy. You're being dramatic. Definitely those overly religious people who would talk about the dangers and where that slippery slope would lead. And here we are. All of the things that they said would not come true seems to be the case. Now, it was a story that I missed. I actually saw it, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it. And I don't know if you guys know, but there is a trans star. They did launch or announce this part of the Ironheart series. And yeah, that's dead on arrival. It was always dead on arrival. It's a terrible character in the first place. I'm talking about Riri, of all names they gave her that, Riri Williams. But this trans says this is Zoe Tarakis. I don't know. Tarakis. I don't know how to say her name. But they identify as non-binary and trans masculine. Don't know what that, and they use they, them pronouns. Not sure exactly what that means, but this is a person that will be somehow starring in the upcoming Ironheart series. But there was something after they spoke to Collider that I specifically want to focus on. And what it does is it highlights that there is certainly an agenda. Hollywood certainly in on it, and it is targeting your kids. That is not sort of being dramatic. That is not like tongue in cheek. That's exactly what it is they're doing. And they say the quiet parts out loud because you're not going to do anything about it. Now, Disney, we already know where they're at with this. I mean, we saw the whole reimagine, whatever they called that little press conference, all hands on deck, and they were just flat out telling you what the agenda was. Still, some of you continue to support Disney. But this is what they said. Zoe said, talking to Collider. And I think this is a picture of this star there. I think as trans people growing up, I didn't get to see myself anywhere. So I didn't really know that I existed. And especially not in superhero or in a superhero show or movie. And so I think I just feel deeply grateful and moved. And this is the part that I'm going to take issue with. This is what they said. I think I just feel deeply grateful and moved that little trans kids and trans teens have something to look at and to know they exist, to know that they can have superpowers and that that's where we belong. I'm going to repeat that one more time before I go in. This person said, and so I think I just feel deeply grateful and moved that little trans kids and trans teens have something to look at and to know that they exist and to know that they can have superpowers and that's where we belong. Okay. First and foremost, there's no such thing as a trans kid. That doesn't exist. It's not a thing. There are people that take an impressionable part of the population, and that is young people, kids especially, and be it coming from their parents, be it coming from those public schools, indoctrination camps that for whatever reason some of y'all are still dropping your knothead kids off at. And they can pick up on these things, right? That is, let's say, insane. Let's just call it what it is. It's insane. That you would even remotely suggest, I don't give a damn as an adult where you're at on the issue. I might think you're the goofiest person in the world for just thinking that there's something inherently wrong with how God made you. Okay? I might think that's weird. I do think that's weird. I'll be very clear. However, I'm a libertarian. As an adult, you have the absolute right to do whatever you want to do to yourself. I might not agree with, let's say, the implication. I might not, let's say, pat you on the back. I might not be jiggling and gyrating with you at a parade, but I accept and agree that you have the right to do whatever you want. However, kids are off limits. They cannot consent. They're kids. And if you are going to insist that they are trans and can be trans, you are insisting that they can be or have, let's say, bodily harm, let's just call it what it is, done to them that is often irreversible. And that they have the capacity to make such a decision at a young age. But my issue is that when Hollywood fools sit up here and just talk about this freely, you have folks that gaslight you, acting like there's no agenda there. She just flat out told you she wants these people to know that they're a thing. This is a vehicle for her. Often it is for a lot of people for various topics. Let's call it that. This is why the left loves entertainment so much. I've been ringing a bell for, I'm a relatively young guy, make no mistake, but for over a decade, I have been talking about this, right? And how, like with the arts, with the entertainment, this is where the battle is fought. And the reason why, despite them being as dumb as they might be, why they are so impactful, why they continue, despite being so stupid, they continue to gain influence, is because they push for this nonsense in mediums when they don't have to have the brightest ideas, right? They went after law and control now, your education. What people deem as legitimate education, and you paying for it, right? Through your tax dollars. And you still dropping them off there. We'll talk about that in another video we already have. They go for the entertainment that they consume. Your kid cannot get from beyond that screen that they're on. In fact, when you want them to shut up, that's what you do. You slide them something, right? And they sit here consuming all this. They will know back to front their favorite artists, actors, all of that stuff, what their views are. And it ain't what you think. As a parent that, let's say, cares about liberty, or you care about just common universal, that should be universal truths. That's how they win. And they gaslight you when you're like, look, man, it looks like y'all trying to do this. And they'll say, man, you crazy as hell. Yeah, they ain't coming for your kids, bro. You being crazy. And here we are. This fool just sat up there and just straight up there. And the term trans kids, I don't care how much slack I get. It's not a thing, bro. That is not a thing. That is something that adults are pushing on these kids, or allowing it to manifest, pushing them to do stuff, whether it be blockers and all this stuff. That's coming from an adult, dude. Right? It's a real thing, and it's happening. And to the people that know it's going down, you're not crazy. Wherever you're viewing the content, I appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, you may be interested in my comic book company, Rippaverse Comics. Our first book and campaign, ISOM #1, brought in $3.7 million with tens of thousands of satisfied customers. Visit Rippaverse.com to check out our store and stay up to date with the latest campaigns from one of the hottest new comic book companies. Also, my first big step towards a parallel economy was the development of my personal website, ericdjuly.com. This entirely replaced my Patreon. Now, if you enjoy this content, please consider becoming a member over at the website. We have an ever-expanding list of perks for various membership tiers, a forum, and a phone app. Some of these perks will even benefit you if you're fans of the Rippaverse. Anyway, I appreciate you so much for being a supporter and or customer. I even got a little love for my haters.